Hi all, welcome to a new video and web application penetration testing tutorial. Today, we are going to have an overview of another category of Kali Linux tools categories. We are going to discuss one of the web application analysis tools, which is Burp-suite. So, let's start. Here is today's agenda we are going to cover today. I will inform you more about the Burp-suite and its use, and how to use it to start your penetration testing journey by analyzing the target web application. Then, we will demonstrate the different editions of the Burp-suite, like the Community Edition with limited features and the Professional Edition that include more advanced features. After that, we will talk about all the necessary prerequisites needed before starting to use the Burp-suite. Finally, we will move to our practical part of today's tutorial by discussing how to start practicing your knowledge by setting up our virtual lab and start intercepting client-side requests using the Burp-suite interception feature. Let's start. As we discussed in our previous tutorial about Kali Linux tools, we have lots of categories in Kali that we will use during our web application penetration testing. Today we are going to discuss the Web Application Analysis Tools category and Burp-suite, which is one of the common penetration testing tools that can help penetration testers to analyze web applications. Burp-suite is an integrated platform and a graphical tool used for performing penetration testing of any web application. Its various tools work seamlessly together to support the entire penetration testing process, starting from initial mapping and analysis of an application's attack surface, through finding and then exploiting any security vulnerabilities detected in the target web application. Burp-suite is one of the tools that is installed by default in Kali Linux, and it's written in Java and was developed by Portswigger Web Security, which is a software company that offers tools for web application security, testing, and scanning. The tool has 3 editions. A Community Edition that can be downloaded free of charge and is installed by default in Kali. The Professional Edition and Enterprise Edition can be purchased after a trial period. The Community Edition provides a comprehensive solution for web application security checks which all penetration testers use to analyze web applications. In addition to basic functionality, such as a proxy server, scanner, and intruder, the tool also contains more advanced options such as a spider, a repeater, a decoder, a comparer, an extender, and a sequencer. All these advanced options increase the efficiency of penetration testing. Nowadays, Burp-suite has undoubtedly become a tool of choice for web application security testing. Also, it has evolved in a way that it can now be used to find vulnerabilities in APIs and mobile apps as well. This will provide a powerful and flexible platform where the penetration tester can efficiently find and exploit potential vulnerabilities. This tutorial covers step-by-step instructions to configure Burp-suite in Kali Linux. Additionally, we will also intercept client-side requests using Burp-suite. But first, let's know more about the prerequisites you should install before starting to use the Burp-suite. To start practicing your knowledge, we assume that you have a testing environment and tools already installed and ready to use. This includes Kali Linux virtual machine, and if you don't know how to install Kali Linux or get a Kali Linux virtual machine, you can review our previous tutorials for how to set up your home virtual lab. Additionally, you are going to use Burp-suite Community Edition, which is installed by default on Kali Linux. However, if you want to have more advanced features, you can get the Professional Edition or Enterprise Edition that can be purchased after a trial period. Finally, a vulnerable target machine, which can be metasploitable too with a damn vulnerable web application installed on it. After preparing these prerequisites, let's cover step-by-step instructions to configure Burp-suite in Kali Linux and intercept client-side request. As we said, we will have 2 virtual machines required to set up a proper penetration testing lab. The first one will have Kali Linux installed while the other will have Metasploitable 2 virtual machine with a damn vulnerable web application installed on it. We will use the Metasploitable2 web address to demonstrate the usage of the Burp-suite proxy to intercept the network traffic. We will assume that the Kali Linux machine has an IP address, 192.168.0.188, and the Metasploitable2 machine has an IP address, 192.168.0.160, but note that you may have a different IP address when you try this on your testing environment, your IP addressing configuration in your testing lab. Now, let's start our steps to intercept the client-side request using the Burp-suite. Step 1. Open the Burp-suite Community Edition, which is installed by default with Kali Linux, so you need not install it manually. To do so, go to Application, then, under the Web Application Analysis category, click on Burp-suite. You can also find it by searching for Burp-suite as shown below and opening the toolbar as shown in the corresponding figure. Once you start it, you will be asked to choose either to run a temporary project or run from an existing one, in case you have any saved projects before. Today, we are going to initiate the temporary project as this is the first time we run Burp-suite and we don't have any saved projects. So, choose a temporary project, then, click Next. Next, you will be asked to choose either using the default configuration, which will load by default with this configuration file, or using a custom image file of custom configuration. So, in case you have a custom image configuration file, you can start loading it from here. Today, we're going to keep it in the default configuration. Now, click on Start Burp, and you're going to get the default window of Burp as shown in the corresponding figure. As shown in the corresponding figure, the Burp-suite is an extensive toolkit that can use to do several things, but in this tutorial, what we're interested in is the Burp-suite proxy feature of it to intercept the network traffic and analyze the server response. Here you can see that the interceptors are on, which means we can now intercept all the requests sent to this proxy. Therefore, we can analyze them and modify them to check whether this web application is vulnerable to any kind of cyber attacks or not. Now we're going to click on Open Browser to open the built-in browser that comes with Burp, and you'll notice that this is simply a standard web browser that you can use to load any website. But when the interceptor is on, you will see that it will intercept any request that this browser sends by Burp-suite before being forwarded to the actual destination. This will give us the ability to analyze and modify the request. In case you are conducting penetration testing on a website that uses HTTPS, you will need to export the Burp-suite certificate first. Let's see how to do so. As shown in the corresponding figure, to export Burp-suite certificates, go to the Proxy tab, then under the Options tab, click on the Import-Export CA certificate button on the left bottom corner. Next, this window will pop up, so now, choose Export Certificate Into Format and click Next. Now, choose the path to save the certificate, and give a name to the certificate. For me, I'll use cert as the name of the saved certificate, and I will save it on my desktop. Now, click on Close once the certificate is successfully exported as shown in the figure below. It's time now to import the exported certificates into our browser, which we suppose will be Firefox. As shown in the corresponding figure, open Firefox, click on the menu button, then, select Preference, select Privacy and Security, and under Security, scroll down to Manage Certificates and choose View Certificates. After that, browse to the path where you saved the exported certifications from the Burp-suite, then, import them in Firefox or whatever web browser you use. Finally, confirm that they were imported successfully, by checking them under the Authorities tab, as shown in the figure below. To make it easy, you can also use a Firefox add-on called Foxy Proxy to turn on the Burp-suite proxy on or off via a simple click button. So, download the Foxy Proxy extension from the below link and then, click on Add to Firefox to install it in Firefox. The next step is to configure Foxy Proxy and start using it. To configure Foxy Proxy, click on its icon as shown in the below figure and then choose Options. Add a proxy window will pop up as shown in the figure below. Now, Please specify the proxy type as HTTP. And fill in the IP address of your proxy, or Burp-suite, which will be 127.0.0.1, and uses the port 8080 as shown in the figure. You can also add a title to this configuration and specify a color for it as well. Once you've finished, click on Save. Finally, we have to configure the network settings in Firefox, to allow us to use a specific proxy, or Burp-suite as our proxy. Click on the Options button, then select General Settings. Scroll down to Network and double-click Settings as shown in the corresponding figure. Now, choose Manual Settings, then fill in the IP address of the Burp-suite and the used port as shown in the figure below. Don't forget to click the Also Use This Proxy for FTP and HTTPS checkbox. Here we go, we have finished all the required configuration. Now, let's start intercepting our requests and start our penetration testing journey. It's time to use the second machine in our lab, so let's power on the Metasploitable 2 machine to use the Vulnerable Application DAM Vulnerable Web Application or DIVA. If you don't know how to get Metasploitable 2 virtual machine, you can review our previous videos on how to get Metasploitable 2 and DIVA. We are going to access Metasploitable 2 GUI via the IP address we configured earlier through our Kali Linux machine. As shown in the figure below, first we will stop Burp-suite interception for now, so Firefox will work regularly as any normal browser. Now, type Metasploitable 2 IP address in the address bar in Firefox on Kali and press Enter. This will display the Metasploitable 2 home page, so, choose DVWA or DIVA to start the DAM vulnerable web application and which will redirect you to the login page as shown in the figure. As shown, the DIVA login page will be displayed. Now please fill in the default credentials, which are admin as the username and password as the password. Now, let's start our practice. Once we turn interception on in Burp-suite, any link we will open will keep loading until we press forward on Burp-suite. For example, let's now try to go to the file inclusion page and let's intercept this client-side request on the Burp. Now, on Burp-suite, go to the Proxy tab. Under Intercept is on you can see the browser request is displayed, as shown in the corresponding figure. And from here, you can view and edit the request. In this window, we can get useful information that can help us analyze the web application using the Burp-suite. From here we can see the headers and the destination for this request. So, we can either forward this request to proceed with our tutorial or we can choose Drop, to ignore the request. Here as we can see, there is some useful information that we can modify to check the target web application and whether it is vulnerable to common attacks such as file inclusion etc., or not. Upon pressing forward on the Burp-suite, the request will be sent with any modifications we have made to any part of this information. We can try to upload a web shell and use the Burp-suite to bypass any client-side security checking to check the target application if it's vulnerable to the famous attack file inclusion attack or not. Under the Interceptor section, we can change the name of the malicious web shell we are trying to upload and check whether the request will be accepted by the web application or not. As shown, we can see all the content types, although the request might be a post request, where not much information will be shown in the URL. And that's why penetration testers use Burp-suite proxy. They check all these parameters against common security vulnerabilities and it will expand our attack surface. It's important to note that you may have to keep forwarding all the requests till you reach your required request which you want to analyze or modify. And now, we have discussed all our topics for today. I wish you have got a good understanding of today's tutorial. Looking forward to hearing from you if you have any comments. Thanks.